Krishna saying in this shloka, Yada hi na indriyadheshu na karmasu anusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudhastadochyate. So, yogarudhastada. So, what is meaning of yogarudha? How do we know if someone is a beginner in yoga? And how do we know someone is advanced in yoga? So, what does it mean, yogarudhas? So, can someone read the translation, the shloka?
A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone else want to read the purport?
I can read. If no other volunteers, I will read.
Sure, please, ma'am.
When a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is pleased in himself, and thus he is no longer engaged in sense gratification or in fruitive activities. Otherwise, one must be engaged in sense gratification, since one cannot live without engagement. Without Krishna consciousness, one must be always seeking self-centered or extended selfish activities. But a Krishna conscious person can do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna and thereby be perfectly detached from sense gratification. One who has no such realization must mechanically try to escape material desires before being elevated to the top rung of the yoga ladder.
Very nice point Prabhupada is making. He's saying one has no such realization. What realization? Realization that everything can be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. So, there are two processes we have discussed this many times in the previous chapters. One is a mechanical process and a natural loving process. Like Durvasa Muni is trying to overcome material desires by a mechanical process. But Ambarish Maharaja did not try to escape his desire by a mechanical process. Ambarish Maharaja was naturally renounced by his engagement in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada actually, I think, wrote this in the purport before. Prabhupada even quoted that very verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai mana Krishna roho vacham savai koita gunanavarni. So, his mind was completely absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna, and his mouth was engaged in glorifying Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayoho, completely absorbed in his lotus feet. And then the next verse is, what is this? Marjanadishu. So his hands were engaged in, his hands were completely engaged in cleansing the temple of the Lord. So in this way, Ambarish Maharaj's engagements were not stopped. Ambarish Maharaja was a king. He was engaged. But all his engagements were done for Krishna's pleasure. You see? So Ambarish Maharaj's renunciation was so natural that it did not build up any element of anger or aversion. It was rooted in his love for Krishna. So that renunciation in itself also brought humility along with it. So it looks very beautiful. Durvasa Muni is cursing Ambarish Maharaja, but Ambarish Maharaja is not even the slightest perturbed. Is not moved by by all the blame that Durvasa Muni casts on him. So this we can understand is the distinction between natural renunciation and mechanical renunciation. Of course, that is also glorious in one sense, because at least this person is trying to become renounced. So in that sense, it's good. But it is not the perfect form of renunciation. So one can become perfectly renounced when one is loving Krishna. And loving Krishna means what? Is every activity. Very nicely, the shloka goes like this. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyas. Which means what? Sankalpa is the foundational aspect of every activity. You see, Sankalpa is the foundational element of every activity. We make a Sankalpa without knowing we are making a Sankalpa. Like I'm going to Walmart to buy some cheese, to buy some vegetables or whatever it is. Correct? Now, there is a Sankalpa. What is a Sankalpa? It's very inherently within present me that I am buying these tomatoes for making sabji for Bhakti Vriksha, or for cooking for devotees, or whatever it is. Okay, I have a Sankalpa. Then my children ask for pizza, whatever it is. So we have a Sankalpa, right? All of us have a Sankalpa while doing every activity. We have to pay attention to that Sankalpa. Now, when we pay attention to that Sankalpa very closely, it could be distributing a book, or it could be speaking to someone, or it could be going to the office. It could be anything. It could be anything, right? In every activity, there is a strong Sankalpa within our heart. Okay, that Sankalpa only makes us engage in an action. So Krishna is saying, who's a Yogaarudha? His all Sankalpa, I mentioned this also before. Yada, Krishna also says, right? Yasya tu sarve samarambaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. So his determination is Shri Radha Krishna Prityartham, not Indriyartham. Like we also do like Sankalpa when we perform any karma, right? Usually the karma is done. We say Mamo Pata Samasta Duritakshaya Dwara Shriman Narayana Prityartham, for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Narayana. So I am making this Sankalpa. So you are determining in your mind that I will do this only for Krishna's pleasure. So we make much of our advancement by building Sankalpa, by making decisions, by making, what is the best English word for Sankalpa? I'm getting the right English word for Sankalpa. So, reflections, not reflections. Determination, resolve, no.
Commitment.
So,
commitment, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Commitment.
Commitment, no, it doesn't. I'm looking for another word I'm not getting. So it is you're making a declaration, right, to yourself that I will do this for this activity for this person's pleasure, and you hammer it, right, again and again and again. So, for instance, let's talk about, I want to wake up tomorrow morning early. I want to wake up tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Now, in order to wake up tomorrow at 4 o'clock and chant 16 rounds, we have to make a very strong sankalpa if I have not been doing that. Okay. So a very strong sankalpa again and again, again and again, again and again. We have to make that sankalpa and pray to the Lord. Krishna, let this sankalpa be fruitful. Let this sankalpa be fruitful. And at some point, we will feel comfortable with that sankalpa. We will feel, okay, I can do this. When we are making the sankalpa again and again to the Lord and pleading to the Lord, then at one point, we will be sure that we are going to do that activity for this person's pleasure. At that point, we have received the mercy of the Lord to perform that activity in the right intention. But until that point, we must again and again remember that sankalpa, remember that sankalpa, remember that sankalpa, as if our life depended on that. So the best way to make spiritual progress is to make sankalpas. The material people also have sankalpa. We also have a sankalpa that's inherently auto. It's going on auto mode. What is a sankalpa? Krishna saying this in this shloka, right? Yada hi na indriyartheshu. Our sankalpas right now, indriyartha. Indriyartha means for the sake of the senses. This is our sankalpa. Na karmasu anusajjate, but not for the purpose of performing material activities. He's given up all sankalpa for material activities. And what sankalpa is doing? Every moment is trying, okay, I should wake up tomorrow earlier. I should chant Hare Krishna mantra better. I should read. I should hear. I should not forget this. Today evening, I'm going to go to the temple and associate. Tomorrow, I'm going to the Bhakti Visha. I'm going to do something different. Again and again, again and again, again and again, we have to reinforce our spiritual sankalpa and pray to the Lord, pray to the spiritual master. Please, my dear spiritual master, fulfill this sankalpa. Fulfill this sankalpa. So the more and more sankalpa we are doing and we are begging, then we make progress. Because sankalpa is the foundation of spiritual life. It is the vow, the resolution we make. I want to do this for 30 days. I want to do this for my entire life. So the more longer it is and more intense it is, more you have to beg. More we have to beg, more we have to fall at the feet of the spiritual master, more we have to serve devotees who are already following this effortlessly. In this way, we have to perform so many sacrifices to fulfill one sankalpa, to even pray for that sankalpa. So all of us can, at least at the minimum, we should pray for the sankalpa of chanting 16 rounds every day. If you don't make that sankalpa, then what will happen? Kama sankalpa will go on. I will do this, I'll do that, I'll perform this activity for the pleasure of my body. This is already going on. I eat this for the pleasure of my body. I eat here, I eat at a restaurant. So this is going on. Automatically we are performing because we are already attached to the modes. We are constantly performing Rajoguna Sankalpa and Tamoguna Sankalpa. I will sleep for some more time. It's a Tamoguna Sankalpa. Right? I'll go and speak to him in an insulting way. It is a Rajoguna Sankalpa. So there is so many Sankalpas that are being produced from the mind infinitely every moment. Now, to counter that, we must continuously be chanting Hare Krishna mantra to reinforce our spiritual sankalpa so that tomorrow we can do something different, not continue the same stupid things we have done for the entire lifetime. And this takes determination, this takes prayer, this takes the intelligence to understand the urgency of spiritual life. If not, we will simply let Kama Sankalpa go on in our life. Right? So let's take Sankalpa, let's beg, let's make a vow. Let's do sacrifices. Let's serve devotees who are constantly fixed in the sankalpa that we are looking to make. You see, so this is the meaning of this shloka. So I'll stop here. Any questions or comments are welcome. Okay, thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.